Hello and welcome to hobby vlog number 75. This week has been a good fun week actually. I feel like I've done quite a lot of variety. Some of it doesn't reach the vlog. I have the super secret squirrel project I'm still working on, which is nearly finished now. And I'm also working on the next Battle Games of Middle Earth magazine. So those two things don't make the vlog. And they have been a lot of fun this week actually, as it happens. So yeah, I've had a good time doing those. But other than that, I've been cracking on with the Smaug build. I even managed to get a little bit done on the model railway, but not as much as I planned. And a few other bits and pieces as well, which I hope that you'll enjoy. It has also been a week of very exciting deliveries, and there's a fair chunk of time spent in this video going through and unboxing a few things that arrived, including Kane finally, which is pretty cool. Though now I feel under huge amounts of pressure to get some projects on the go and to start doing the builds I've got planned, which will have to wait because I need to clear my decks and get a little bit more time available in the week before I make a start on that. So yeah, that will be coming, but just not quite as soon as I'd hoped. Anyway, please do enjoy the video. Let me know in the comments below if you do or not. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment. As I say, I always reply to every single one of your comments. Yes, even you, Kajo, I reply to you as well. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I really hope that you enjoy watching my week. So I've just done a bit of carving away with my hobby knife because the surrounds actually weren't perfect. I needed to trim them. I actually got a little bit more trimming to do here as well, just to make sure they fit in nicely. But what I'm going to be doing is gluing these in place using PVA, and then I'll come along very, very carefully, put some more of the grout mixture of the correct colour to build up around the sides. So the farmhouse is good. I need to refill my glue pot. So what I'll do is I'll put a bead of PVA just around the edge, like so, and then put the house in place and then leave it. And once that's dry, I can come in and start doing the fences and really finish off this farmyard. So there we are, you can see that sits in nicely. Good. And I'll do the same thing for the shed. This time I think I might put the PVA actually on the bottom of the shed because it's slightly open. So make it a little bit neater. There we are. So that will glue in place. And then once that's dried, like I say, I can come along and I can build up just the little gaps that I've got where I've trimmed and make it match nicely into the surroundings. And then, yeah, a bit of a fence, and then the farmyard's done. Brilliant. As you can see, I've done the royal purple, and I actually have done 2 coats of it, 2 thin coats, as one should. And so now I'm ready to start painting up Alice. I will be doing a lot more, I think, to the dragon that's there, but for now I want to just get the base colours down so I can kind of plan on the next bit. So I'm going to be using basic skin tone from Vallejo, which is 70815, and I will pop that in text as well, and I'm just going to very, very basically block in the colour on Alice, like so. And then I can paint her clothing and her hair, and she'll be done. So that's going to be the quickest part. The fun part is going to be painting up the dragon, obviously, as it should be. So yeah, I'll get that done, and then when that's fully dried, so that because I've been using Alice as my purchase point while painting the dragon, then I will bring you along for the next step. So yeah, let's just get some flesh tone on this young lady. The next thing that I need to paint on the Smaug eye, or the dragon eye, is the key in his his actual pupil, which is going to be fun. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. I'm not entirely sure how well it's going to film either. So if it films badly, apologies, for that, and I'll just show what it looks like afterwards. But I have put manual focus on, so it should stay in focus. And what I'm going to try to do is paint this. So you can watch me struggle. I'm not a very great painter, but I do my best. There we are. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. I'm going to let that dry, and I'll readdress it. I'll have a look at it when it's dried. But yeah, that's actually better than I expected I could do. So that's a good first coat of the skin tone down. It's not perfect, but I'll do another couple. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the spikes and the bumps and the lumps in lime green from Vallejo. So again, I'll try and run the camera. If I can stay in shot, then you'll see it, and if I don't stay in shot, then you'll know, because the the filming will stop. But I'll bring you back when it's done either way to show you what it looks like. Well, there we are. Pretty happy with how that looks. I'm going to let that dry and take a bit of a rest, because I've been painting quite solidly now for a little while. Come back maybe with a little bit more purple just to touch up where I've gone over with the green, and then look at maybe highlighting the purple as well. But yeah, that really looks beautiful. I'm very pleased with how the green and the purple work together. I'm about to do a reconstruction of what happened about an hour ago when the UPS guy finally arrived and brought me my Warbats, yeah! I've been waiting 3 months for these to arrive. 3 months, because they got stuck in Germany because UPS are rubbish, and they don't seem to understand that they're just supposed to get boxed from A to B and not like sit on it for months, then say they've lost it, then say they've found it, and then it just stay. Oh, anyway. Hugely frustrating. It was quicker. Forgeworld, fair play to them. They were very great through the whole process, and they said in the end, just ask them to ask for it back, and they did. And this is how ridiculous it is. They asked for it back, then shipped it again, and it got to me within like 4 days. I mean, what are you doing, UPS? Absolutely ridiculous. So I've got my Warbats. Anyone that knows me knows how much I've been looking forward to these. So I'm going to do an unboxing, have a look and see what's in here, because it's not just Warbats, though that's the main thing. And then they will be my next project on the table for my 20-minute painting, so I can get them all painted up. And I will obviously bring you along for that a little bit. This is a little bit of a special one because I've been so excited. So there might be a little bit more content from my 20-minute paintings coming up. So yes, I have Warbats. So here we are, the box, unopened. So I'm going to take my knife to it and open it up. And here we are. So let's get rid of the single-use plastic, my favourite thing, and let's have a look and see what we've got. So I ordered Guahir, the Windlord, and the reason I ordered that is that I received a couple of eagles for Christmas in a Secret Santa, so that's pretty cool. And then we have 1 pack of Warbats, we have a 2nd pack of Warbats, we have a 3rd pack of Warbats, yes. We have a 4th pack of Warbats. We have a 5th pack of Warbats. And we have a 6th pack of Warbats. So that's 12 Warbats in total. Oh yes. And then I also picked up the personalities of Bree, which I've been wanting for a while, and I wanted to put in a part of another order. So that will go into the Mountain of Opportunity, and so will Guahir, though hopefully Guahir may not be there for that long. So I really do want to paint up those eagles. But what will be happening is I will be starting to put together 12 Warbats. So the thing to do with those is I'm going to need to wash them and assemble them. You can see they come in quite a lot of parts. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably assemble one. I'll assemble at least one pack completely as it comes out the box, and I won't do any converting, and I might try and convert some of those to make them look a little less samey. So I'll bring you along for that as I assemble them. We'll show how we put them together. But yeah, I've been waiting for these for such a long time. When they were announced as part of the book 2-3 years ago now, I wanted them, and when they came out a year ago I was patient, and then I ordered them and it took them 3 months to arrive. So anyway, I'm going to have a look at assembling these. I'll bring you along, and then I'll have a look at painting them as well, and I'll bring you along for that. But as you can probably tell, I am pretty excited that these have finally arrived. So here we are, the first good and bad Warbat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up, have a look and see what's inside, and then assemble it. And I'll only do that process for one of these, because yeah, it'll be the same for all of them pretty much, unless I start to do some proper converting, in which case I will show you that. But this first pack I'm going to just do as it comes out of the box. So let's open the packing. Well, I did that a bit brutally, didn't I? Well, right, so let's have a look and see what we've got. We've got the nice artwork, obviously, on the front that I've already looked at. And then on the back, we have the components. So, yeah, that's rather a lot of components for a small kit like this. But that's fine, I'm pretty used to putting together plastic kits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split them out into left and right. And what I'll then do, once we've had a look at these, is I'll put these to wash, and I will wash them in in soapy water, with dish soap, not with hand soap, with dish soap, to make that very, very clear. So this is number 6, so that's the left. And this is number 5, so that's also the left. Let's get them all out and have a look and see if we can identify which. Okay, so we have some things that have actually split off of the sprue, hopefully not damaged. And we have A and B, which is actually going to help. So that's B, that's A. Okay, I see. So you've got A and B on the sprues. Apologies for the slight confusion. And you can see here, these are all A, and these are all B. And unfortunately, this one had split off of the sprue, so I'm not 100% sure which is A and which is B. I'll have to have a little bit of a look at that. That's not very cool, really. But that's how that splits, and then I've only got this one that's a little bit kind of confused and I'm not sure which is which. So I will have to be very careful when I'm assembling these that I get that correct. I may look to see if they've actually stuck in, they're actually not broken off in one of the other packs. Though looking at this one, that looks like that's broken off as well in the pack, as you can see there. So that's a bit disappointing, really. Yeah, this one as well. Looks like that sprue is broken in every single pack, which is a bit rubbish. But that's what you get in the pack. What I'm going to do now is put it in, as I say, in some hot soapy water. Give them a good scrub with a toothbrush, and then leave them to dry. And then I will come back a bit later on once they're dry and start to assemble them. And I'll probably assemble A first, which will help me to work out which of these bodies is the correct body. Right, onwards. It's been another big delivery day, and I have several things to unbox and show you. First of all, I'm going to start with the smallest thing, but I'm very, very excited by this. This is actually a Kickstarter run by Quinn from Quinian's Budgetcraft's wife. And it's a book, and I believe that there's also some miniatures in there. So yeah, it's come all the way from America. So what I'm going to try to do now is open this, and I'll show you what it looks like. So this might be noisy, so I'll just skip the video. Ah, here we are. Right, okay. Look in the tissue paper, it says. It has a personalised note. That's lovely. It's got a bookmark. Now, you can never have too many bookmarks, particularly with how easily I lose them. It has some tissue paper, which we've been told to look in. So let's have a look inside the tissue paper. Sparkly, sparkly tissue paper. But nothing in there. So let's have a look at the other one. We have a certificate of authenticity. There we are. Fantastic. Book 1 of the Return of Kiluemar. Here we are, Return to Kiluemar, Book 1, Magic of the Realm. That will be being read very soon. Thank you for your support. Signed by the author, authoress, whatever. Okay, and inside these tissue paper, I believe, will be the miniatures. Now, the idea here is that these are the two main protagonists, I believe. For the actual story. So I will be painting these up. Here we are. We have one there and we have one there. There we are. So we have the two main protagonists, and I will attempt to remember to link to the video of Quinn showing these off. If I don't, then tell me in the comments and I will. So we've got a guy and a girl, and I will paint these up, and I'll do this on video. I'll put a video out of these very soon as well. These will go right to the top of my list to get some colours on them. But yeah, isn't that wonderful? So here we have it. We have the Return to Kiluemar. I know a fair few people did support her, which is really, really cool. And I am looking forward to the next campaign, which I believe is going to be amazing. And I will attempt to, again, put some notes out when that does. I'll attempt to put a video together to tell you to go and back it, because frankly you should, because yes, supporting small authors is a very, very awesome thing to do. So there we are. We have the Return to Kiluemar and two miniatures, a certificate of authenticity. We have a bookmark, and I'm going to quickly have a look in my envelope. Isn't that lovely? Thank you so much for your support with my debut novel. I truly hope you enjoy the book and the extras included. Once you read the book, please consider leaving a review. Yes. Kimberly, you know I will. You know I will. And best of luck with the next book. I know you're working hard on it now. And thanks for sending this all the way over to me in southern Bulgaria. Really, really appreciate the effort you've put into that. The next thing to unbox is this. And I think I know what it is, but I'm going to double check before I announce it. So I will now pop all of this packing material and open it out of the box. Yes, it is. It is Black Site Miniatures Fantasy Series 1. So what I'll do is I will pull everything out of this cardboard box and we'll have a quick flick through. I'm not going to do an unboxing now. I'll do a proper unboxing in a separate video, but I'll quickly have a look inside each one and we'll just do a quick overview. As I say, I'll do a proper unboxing again. So let's just get everything out and we'll have a look at it. So here we are, 3 boxes. We have a scenery pack, we have the core box, and we have the stretch goals. And the stretch goals is more than twice the size of the basic pack. So let's have a look at these in order of size. Let's have a look at the scenery pack first. Let's get rid of this single-use plastic. So there we are. You can see it comes in a nice vacuum-packed tray, and we have some pretty awesome things here. Let's see if I can pull one of these out. We have a bubbling cauldron. That's pretty awesome. And a fountain or a portal or some kind of ritual area. A bookcase with a skull on top. You've got to have a skull on top, otherwise it's not a real bookcase. I remember this one. This is actually what pulled me over into the scenery pack. It's got an open casket. It's quite fun. A pile of boxes, crates. These are going to be fun. A little bit warm on that one. That might need to be put in some heat. That's a shame. But yeah, some funky mushrooms. A rack of weapons, a looking glass, who's the prettiest of them all, and last but not least we have a chest, a locked chest. So they're pretty cool. They're not bad looking little models. They're pretty detailed. You've got the wood on them, a little bit of this kind of a softness to it on the top there, but they're pretty good. If you don't know about this Kickstarter, it's incredibly cheap, and as I record this, they have their second Kickstarter for Fantasy Series 2 ongoing right now, which I have not yet pledged for, and I'm umming and ahhing about. But all of this was 70 quid or something like that. It's very, very cheap for everything. Loads and loads of miniatures. And by all accounts, they're really very good quality. So what I'll do now is I'll open up the core box and we will have a good look through that. So I'll just get rid of all of the single-use plastic. Okay, so this is now opened. Absolutely lovely art. I wanted to really highlight that. Absolutely beautiful artwork on the front of that box. Very, very cool. I love this crazy warrior here, axe in hand, screaming at the people that are threatening her and her friends. That's a true Dungeons and Dragons kind of image there, right there and there. So let's have a look, see what's inside this. So we have vacuum pack trays. We have 2 deep, yes, 2 deep. So let's have a quick look at what's in here. We've got some rats. Now these are pretty nice. These are nicer, I think, than the scenery pieces. Got like a small devilly type creature. That's actually got a scorpion sting on the end of his tail. I will go into this in detail, as I say, in a different video where I've actually got what the names of the everything is. So I don't at the moment. Doesn't say on the bottom. Thought I'd better just check. Got some kind of like insecty type creatures. They're pretty disgusting. Some werewolves. Or, yeah, kind of werewolfy type lizard creature, lizard men. Got some oozes in translucent, green translucent, pretty cool. And then at the bottom we have some kind of like fox type creatures, a sling and a knife. So you got multiple of the same sculpt there. So they'd be good for like enemies or whatever, not really player characters. And then in the second tray, apologies for the noise and the rattling, we have again multiple of those. So we've got like halfling kind of like goblin type creature there. It's pretty cool. They're really nice sculpts. I'm really impressed with the sculpts. They're pretty tidy looking sculpts at first glance. We've got some kind of a 2 sword wielding character. The swords are quite thick, but again that just means they won't get damaged. These are actually for gaming with. They are definitely not sculpts designed for display. They're designed to look good on a tabletop, which is good because that's about the level I paint to. We've got a barbarian with a 2-handed axe. He's about to swing around and take your head off. Pretty cool. So we're coming into some more player character type things here. We've got a paladin type character there. We've got a female sorceress type character there. Looks like something I painted up quite recently. Got a bit of a ninja character. That's pretty cool. Yeah, they are nice sculpts. Right, I will go into this in detail in another video, like I say. This is getting a bit longer than I wanted it to be. So what I'm now going to do is put that back and I'll open up the stretch goals box and we'll have a quick look in that. And here we have the stretch goals box. And those of you that know me will know that I am going to absolutely love that. I love this understated. It's like a shaded, and you've got a dwarf with 2 axes, and you've got like one of the rat type creatures down here. But it's just so understated. I really love that artwork. That's very nice indeed. Right, I'm going to try and lift the lid off this box. And let's see what's inside. Wow, I mean this is just packed. For 70 quid, you're not going to get better than this. You're not going to get anything like this. So what do we have? I won't go into this in very much detail. We'll just fly through. Yeah, we've got some zombies wrapped up in there. There we are. Some mummies. We have a little bit of a kind of a weirder one here. This is almost semi-looking Warhammer-ish. Which is a bit odd in a fantasy setting, but that's fine. Aha, we have a Banshee. They're lovely. That's awesome. Some more monsters. Look at that, it's like a beetle. That's awesome. I know I'm saying that's awesome a lot, but that's because it is. So that's a quick look at what's in there. We have another tray underneath it, which has another translucent. This looks like a monk or something like that. A fighting monk. So we get that in shot. Yeah, it's hard to focus on. What do we have down here? Some kind of muscular fighting creature. We have a angel with, or devil with scary hands. Can't tell, angel or devil, what do you reckon? Ah, now we're talking. Now we're talking. We've got the boy bringing the pints. There he is. The ale and a plate of beers. That's what we want, isn't it? That goes along with Barnum and Butterbird that arrived this week as well. I'll tell you what, when am I going to get time to paint this? Some of these are brilliant. Look at that. Look how much character there is in that sculpt. And if you are an avid watcher of YouTube, you'll probably have seen Lindy Bage's complaint about sculpts. And in this case, he does have the little thingy that's dangling down between his legs, but not too much of it. But he's not overly muscled, I don't think. And he's clearly like some kind of wolf man. So he's just wearing like skirts, he's protecting his thighs. He won't cut his head off when he lifts his shoulders because he's only got this on one side and not on the other, and it's not too high. So I think Lindy Beige probably wouldn't mind that one. I do love that guy. If you don't follow Lindy Beige, go and watch him. And now we come to it, the bottom of the box and the big boys. This is where the large miniatures reside. So there is a game which you can play with these specifically. So these are some cards. So I'll be able to match those up and use those as a key for some of my painting. But yeah, let's go for the big one. Let's go for the big one. Let's go for the dragon. Look at that. That is pretty awesome. Now, I was holding off on backing the version 2 until I'd seen these. They have been very, very good. They've known, obviously, because of Corona, everything's been delayed. And so they're being very, very flexible, and they're offering a really good refund if people back before they receive this. However, I've been lucky to get it. And so I'm able to look. And on the strength of this, I may very well be throwing some more money over towards them. Because, yeah, this is really good. Blacklist, you've done a good job. And they look like they're very solid, but they also look like they've got enough detail to put a fun paint job on. And that's what I like. I don't want to be like having to paint every blade of grass and every strand of hair because it's so finely cast really for these sorts of models. I want to be able to slap some paint on, put a wash on, and it look good. And you know what? I think these look like that'll be the case. And I am a big fan of big, scary models like that. So there we are. There we have another few of these translucent jobbies. And for the last one, let's have a look at this shambling mound. Talking of which, there's a little bit of clean up to be done. I'm not sure how well that's coming out on the camera without me really focusing very well, but there's a little bit of a mould line there coming over around that, but that will be very, very easy to take off with a hobby knife. And I think you should be able to do that without losing any detail. And frankly, I've seen worse on Games Workshop models that cost this much for 2 models. So there we are. Anyway, that was a far longer unboxing than I intended to have on this, but it's far more impressive than I thought it would be. So there we are. That is the Fantasy Series 1 from Blacklist Miniatures. And now we come to the big one. This is Solomon Kane, Wave 1. This is only the first wave. Oh dear. Right. Yeah. Let's get into this. I am beyond excited about this box. This is truly a case of leaving the best, or the thing I'm most excited about, to last. Actually weighs a ton. So let's lift this off and pull out everything individually and have a quick look at what we've got. Oh, it's heavy. So here we are, something wrapped up in lots of bubble wrap. So this will probably be noisy. We have an art book. Oh, you know what I'm going to do now? You do know. Oh, that new book smell. So this is literally just pages of art and inspiration for painting. I've seen some people complain it's too dark. They must have got a misprint, because that is not too dark. Look at it. That is no way too dark. Maybe they got a misprint, I'm not sure. Maybe they were just complaining for the sake of it. But yeah, absolutely beautiful. I will look at that in depth. And then the other box is the Right Hand of Doom Adventure, a game by Jake Thornton. Good old Jake. So this is a standalone expansion. Right Hand of Doom, an expansion adventure. This is not a standalone game. You need the Solomon Kane core box to play. So sorry, not a standalone. Right, what's next? Let's go in order of lightness, because the main box is going to be another strain to pick up. Loads and loads of sleeves. That's cool. Good. I can do them while I'm watching a film or watching some YouTube. I'm presuming that these are also going to be sleeves. Let's have a quick look. And yet more sleeves. This is open, so some have actually fallen out in the pack, in the box. Oh, so let's grab them out. Lots and lots of sleeves tells you that there are lots and lots of cards. Right, let's get this box out. Give me a second. There we are. So there we have the Mythic Games core box, one of two. Where did I put my knife? Looks to me like this has been quality checked. It's been wrapped 2 or 3 times, once probably in China and once probably in France, so that's cool. So what I'll do is I will lift this down and we will have a look and see what's inside it. I need to make some space in my room. I've got boxes everywhere. So here we have what was inside that box. So there are some prints that come in a very nice folder. So I will be framing these and sticking these up around to go with some other prints I've got that I need to frame. So that's really cool. I love artwork and it's always lovely to see the depths that these companies go into to create the world and populate it with fantastic art. And then we've got 2 big boxes still in single-use plastic. We've got the Arsenal box and we've got the core box. So what we'll do is we'll have a look at the core box first. So let's get rid of this single-use plastic again. Tell you what, there is some weight in that box. I mean, I was an all-in backer for Joan of Arc, so I know what heavy boxes are like. And that is a heavy box. Again, absolutely beautiful art on the box. Isn't that lovely? Just so evocative. Right, again, I'm not going to go into this in huge depth because A, this unboxing section of this video is becoming huge, and B, I want to take my time over it, so I will come back with a proper unboxing in another video very soon. But you can see here we've got the rule book, which is nicely laid out, clearly printed, and yep, it smells good as well. We have a quick start guide, which is what I'll be using. I'll be trying to get a game in as soon as possible. I don't want to waste time on this. We have one of the controversies of this campaign was that they split out and they removed a lot of stuff, changed a lot of stuff out while they were developing it, which is why it took so long. But one of the really good things is that they've actually done it so that each scenario, each storybook is separate, which I think is a cracking idea. It makes it easier to pick up and take with you. You don't have to take the whole lot with you. You can pull out what you need for what you're going to play, and it means that you're less likely to spoil yourself accidentally in future stories, which obviously you don't want to do. So we have a save box, I presume, and loads of cards. Now there's lots and lots of space in here, which is good because this is obviously only wave 1, but also it means that you can put your cards into the sleeves. Fine. I have lots of plans for these. Watch this space. But those are the tiles. We have some awesome dice. We have some plain dice. I presume you use as markers. We have some tokens, and I presume that's it. I say that's it, that's a huge amount of stuff. Yes, there's nothing underneath, just check. So that's the core box, which is good. It seems to be a very nice storage solution. Initial feel of it is it's solid, everything seems to fit nicely, and as I say, there's enough play there that you can sleeve your cards and fit them in, which is a complaint people have sometimes, where you have sleeve cards won't fit in the storage container. So I'll pop this away and we will get the Arsenal box. So here we are, here's the Arsenal box. Again, absolutely superb artwork. You do come to expect it from Mythic Games. It's one of the things that they really excel at, is finding good artists and letting them run with it. I mean, look at that. Understated, but striking. Just exactly how I like it. Right, let's see what's in here, another heavy box. So we've got a bunch of punch cards, strength, clarity, compassion, danger, and a bunch of punch tokens. This is 2 level. Oh, I like dual layer, so that's nice, so things don't slide all over the place. Then I don't want to take too much of the packing out because I'm going to put it all back together. But they're quite nice. Here we have the player decks for each of the different virtues. Yes. I'm not going to take them out. You'll have to wait for another video to see that. Here we have some save cards. Now that's a nice idea, and there are lots of them. I mean, yeah, you're not going to run out of them in a hurry. I presume that they will sell them to you if you want more. We have more tiles. I'm very excited about my plans for them. And then we have some plain cardboard boxes, which I'm presuming, yes, I'm only going to open one of these now because this unboxing section is now crazily long. So let's see, what randomly have I picked? And I'll do a proper unboxing, like I say, in another video. Oh, we have the virtues. Look at that. I mean, their miniatures are stunning. What is it? King of Average says, look underneath their robes, look at their hands, look at their mouths. These guys here are committing Harry-Curry. Got their swords through their bodies. Oh. Now I'm not enough into the lore at the moment to identify these all by sight, which is another reason why I'm not going to go too depth right now. But all I'm talking about here is just how lovely the sculpts are. Again, something that you do come to expect from Mythic Games. And then we have a couple of wolves or bears. There we are. So I'm not going to open any of those. You'll have to wait for another video to see those. This has gone on long enough. I'm going to pack this away, and I've got one more thing to show you, and then all this unboxing is done. So the final thing to show you is this, which is the playing mat. Now, I'm not totally sure whether I should take it out because I might struggle to get it back in again. But at the very least, I'm going to open this. You can see it's well packaged. It came inside another box, which I've removed it from already. And I can tell you what, there's ripe hobbying opportunities for tubes like this. So don't throw it away. I'm sure that you'll be able to make something out of this, which will be of use in the game. Yeah, that's going to be rolled very tightly, which I will never get back in. So let's have a quick look just at the quality of it. Just pull it mostly out. It's mouse mat material. Nicely knitted back, rubberized back, and very clear, clean colours. And you can start to see some of the graphics on there, but I'm not going to take that out now because I really don't want this to take over the world until I'm ready to properly unbox it, and it's already proving hard to get back in even though I didn't pull it all the way out. So I'll leave it like that. I'll tidy that up after I'm not on camera. That is Solomon Kane, the full pledge, but only the first part. We have another, apparently even bigger order on its way, maybe in 6 months or so, not sure when. So there will be some content coming to the channel now that this has arrived. I'll be doing some making, I'll be doing some playing, I'll be doing some painting, and I'll obviously bring you along for that. But there we are. What a day today has been, all those things arriving. It's been a very good Tuesday day back to work after the Easter holidays. So these have had a good scrub and been washed. Now they're dry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to clean them up and remove them from the sprues. So you can see there's a little bit of a pylon here which needs to be cleaned up. and I'm just going to use a sharp hobby knife to do this, and a little bit of patience. So don't rush it, don't feel like you need to do everything in one cut, and yeah, double check, because sometimes what can seem to be something to remove isn't something to remove. I've done that before. So I'll get this done, and I will be back when I've finished and let you know how bad or good it was. I'm not going to make you watch me do this. On first glance, they look okay, to be honest. Not very many things to tidy up. Certainly the base looks good. There is a fair chunk of flash here on the side of this base, but it carves off nice and easily. It's not too bad. For the price of them, you'd have hoped they wouldn't have that, but anyway. And then I will bring you back when I'm about to start to assemble, because I do need to work out which body is which is probably the worst part of this whole thing, is the fact that these aren't. These have fallen off the sprue, and it's very difficult to work out which is which, but I'll work it out. I'll bring you back when I get to that. Okay, so I've cleaned up the body and one of these wings, and while I've been doing that, I have worked out that the shape that you want for A, if you have this issue, is the one where it's kind of twisting its nose round to the right. So the body comes in and it twists to the right. And you can see here that when I take the wing, it fits in perfectly into that little slot there, or it did before I was filming. I've got the wrong wing. If I get the correct wing, it fits in perfectly to that little slot there on this side. There we are. And then the other wing fits in and slots in perfectly on this side. So I'm pretty sure that that's the way that it should be. There we are. So I'm going to continue tidying up, and what I'll then do, seeing as I've just shown you that, is I will then glue the wings onto the body, because I think that's going to be the first thing to do, and I'll bring you along for any more steps as I go. But so far it's cleaning up nice and quite cleanly, not taking very much time. There's just a little bit of flash around this claw, which I'm having to tidy up. But yeah, it's proven itself to be pretty much Forgeworld quality that you'd expect, which is pretty high. Okay, so I've assembled the bat and I've assembled the base, and I am going to leave them separate because it's going to be really, well, that's one thing about this is a very delicate kit, and as you just see, the tail has fallen off again. I've just been fighting this for quite a while, and I just cannot get this tail to stick. Don't know if it's because I'm doing it the wrong angle or whatever, but everything else has been fine, but this tail is a right faff. And I don't want to stick it to the base because you're only sticking it by this tiny little contact point on this foot, and I would break it while I was painting it. So I might try to reinforce it a bit. I might look at how I can do that base to add some reinforcing around that contact point, and maybe even to connect up to this to the tail to give it a little bit more support, because it's just very, very, very fine, very fiddly. But it's done. So that's the A one. I'm going to do now is I'm going to make the B one, and I will show you what that looks like, and that's going to probably be me for tonight. I might try and get these primed. I'm doing this in my 20 minutes. That's taken me a good 15, so I'm probably going to go over doing the other one, but I'd rather go over. And then tomorrow I can prime first thing, and then I'll bring you along for the painting in the evening. So now I've done the painting for the eye, I now need to make the diorama, and as you can see I'm going large scale on this one. I'm not sure whether it will be playable. It might be. I'll try and make it so that it's at least partially playable, but more it's just going to look amazing. So the idea is that this is all going to be covered in sequins. I have some chrome gold spray paint, so my plan will be to basically build this up, use modelling compound to smooth out any of the rough edges. I'll shave these off, shave this down so it's all a bank. You've seen the film, if you haven't, go and watch it, but basically the eye appears in this big bank of gold and kind of like treasures. So yes, and I'll probably build up around the base as well a bit here like this. These are offcuts from a failure at in Battle Games Middle Earth, which you'll see on a video next month. Probably this will be done before then, or it needs to be actually. So yes, you'll be able to recognise these offcuts as a failure from just actually earlier this evening, funnily enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at gluing this all down. I'm going to make use of my gator glue, which is actually running a bit low. I need to order another one of those because the gator glue does stick it okay to this PVC board, which is good. And then what I'll do is I will then come and shave it off using my new tool, which I've just worked out how to use, which is also really cool. So I will probably only glue along the up down, so along the horizontal rather than the verticals, because I'll be cutting through the verticals with the hot wire cutter. While it is pretty powerful, I can tell you, and I will use bring the video in later to show you me using it. I still don't want to damage it with gator glue, and I'm not sure how good this is for cutting. The alternative would be to use PVA, obviously, so maybe I will do that. I will let you know. But that's the arrangement. We'll have a load of, it'll need quite a lot of compound, unless I can kind of come in here and like glue like this and then shave it off. I've got a fair number of these, so I might be able to build it up quite a lot with offcuts of the XPS, but my plan is to leave that drying overnight and then I can come and cut it tomorrow. Then I can model in compound, paint it, throw a load of sequins on it, and hopefully that'll be done. So this will be quite a quick build. I say that often. It often isn't. Anyway, let's see. Let's get some gluing done. I'll show you what it looks like when that is happened. So the first stage of gluing has been done, and I've decided actually to call it there and to weight that down properly like that, and then come back tomorrow and do the more gluing in the morning, just because I want this to be, don't want it to rushed. There's no point in hurrying, and I think that that will actually work quite well as a solid dry, and I've used the gator glue for that, and then for the rest I'll be able to use PVA, which I'll be able to cut through. So that's my plan anyway. So yeah, I'll leave that overnight and come back to that in the morning. After finishing filming last night, I got PVA, and it was late in the evening. I didn't want to film because it was late, but I got PVA and I glued down the next layers. So you can see I've put the little bit of the expanded polystyrene on the front here, and I've also built up the layers above here as well. So this now means that when I've removed all these weights, I will be able to start carving and then start sculpting on the actual terrain shape. Should that be dry? That's dry, but that's not. I may need to come back in there with some gator glue. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the rest of these weights. I'll have a look and I'll bring you back in to tell you what the next step is, whether it's going to be able to actually start carving or whether I need to re-glue that top bit. One of the issues with PVA is it's actually air activated, and sometimes it doesn't go off, and that's not gone off really. Right, I'm going to lift that if I can, if I'm not going to damage it. Yes, that is going to need. You can see, look, it's still wet. That has been quite a long time. So I could either be patient and leave it, or I could just be impatient. And I know that where I'm going to carve roughly. So if I do a line along here, I said I was going to go away, but I don't need to go away because I can just do this now. And I can do a line along here, and then and then I can weight that down. Now that will go off. Oops. God, slippery stuff. That will go off quite quickly. So I'll just weight that down again with these here, and then I'll come back in an hour or so and I'll be able to do the next step. So there we are. Do be aware of that PVA sometimes doesn't go off, especially if you have too large an area, and then the other issue was that this was a little bit warped, which is why I've had to weight it down so much. Normally I wouldn't want to put that much weight on top of when I'm gluing PVA for the reason you've just seen. These ones, which only had the lighter weights on, have glued fine. And they were done exactly at the same time, so there we are, there's a lesson learned. So I'll let that go off, and then I'll bring you back and we'll start to do the shaping. Preparatory to priming, I've actually decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these to their bases. It's going to make it a little easier to handle them and make it easier to paint. They're not such complicated figures that I want to keep them separate from the base. So I'm just going to use super glue, and looking at them, they don't need any cleanup at all. They're perfectly and utterly prepared already, so thank you for that, Quinn. So just a little dab of super glue and then hold it for a minute, and then I'll do the other one. And I will prime these as I always do using grey Vallejo primer brushed on. And then this evening when I get to painting them, which I'm going to try and do in my 20 minutes, I'll bring you along. I'm going to film it this time because I'm doing these. I'm also doing the Warbats as it happens. So my 15 minutes is going to start to be filmed again for a bit. Anyway, enough nattering and rambling. I'll get these glued, get these primed, and then we will start painting. So I just shot a load of footage and realised that the microphone wasn't on, so I'll quickly show you what I was doing. I may indeed do a voiceover before as well. So this is a tool I've bought, which is a professional hot wire cutter. It was ridiculously expensive. It's pretty cool. I'm not sure whether it's worth the money. I'm not sure whether I'd recommend anyone get it. I need to spend a lot more time using it. But what you do is you basically have a heat control at the back, and you have a button to press here. It's fan cooled, which is awesome. And it just cuts through. So let me quickly adjust this, and we'll do a quick cut on camera for this clip. I have actually also just managed to disassemble that. The PVA is not proving strong enough, so I'm going to have to deal with that. But basically, press the button, and what we'll do is we'll carve along this front bit here. So you press the button, it starts clicking, the fan turns on. It takes about 10, 15, 20 seconds to heat up. I believe. Come on, there we are. Takes a bit of time to heat up, but then the more you use it, the longer you use it, the warmer it gets, and the faster you cut. As I say, I'm not sure whether I'd recommend this to anyone. I'd wanted one for a little while, so eventually I did decide to pull the trigger and get it. It's a lot better. I mean, if you're doing a lot of work with this sort of machine, then you know, cutting foam, then I think it's probably worth it. It's certainly a lot more powerful and a lot quicker to use than my hot wire foam factory, which is here. I bought it mainly for use for doing this sort of cutting, and also for drilling and what have you. So it has a whole load of attachments, and I will show that in the video properly. But yeah, I've left a gap here because once I finish doing this carving, I'm going to put a dwarf pillar here coming up out of the pile of gold pieces and treasure. So I'm going to continue carving, going to cut these down to shape, fill in any gaps, and then I'll bring you back when I come to do the tower, which is going to be next, and then it'll be a case of modelling compound. So yeah, not sure whether I recommend it or not. It was a bit of a luxury buy, and I think it might have been a bit of a waste of money, but at least it's fast and powerful, and maybe with more practice I'll get better at it. Well then, this was an unexpected occurrence yesterday. After all the excitement of receiving the Warbats delivery, and I'm obviously very, very happy that Forgeworld have been so good and their services, as always, excellent. Yesterday I had a phone call from the same courier. "Are you in? I'm on my way." And he turned up with another box. Now, I have been saying that what happened was the replacement arrived, and then yesterday the original order arrived, because that's what's happened. I've got another box full of Warbats. But actually what's happened is the original arrived first, and I've noticed now looking at the invoice in the packing slip that this is actually the replacement. So UPS, having been told to return the package to Forgeworld, didn't, sent it to me anyway, and then Forgeworld didn't wait to receive that back, which they said they were going to, and sent me it again, which is what this is. So this has arrived within like a week, less than that, which is what should happen from the UK over to Bulgaria. It's not that far, especially when you do airmail. It shouldn't even take that long. But yeah, UPS have been stupid and have sent me the package that they shouldn't have done. I have contacted Forgeworld. I want to be very clear about this. I emailed them immediately. That's how I am. I will refuse to act dishonourably in that way. I think that's wrong. And their reply was, if I can get it to a local games workshop, great. If not, then please accept it as a sign of goodwill. And I actually don't even know where my local games workshop is. It may be about 300 miles away. So yes, and in this day and age I'm not going to drive up there just for that, or I wouldn't anyway really. They've said to keep it, so I'm going to. So now I don't just have 12 Warbats, I have 24. And not just 24 Warbats. Yeah, I also have 2 Guahirs. It's another Guahir. And not just that, I have the personalities of Brie again. So, like I say, I've emailed them, they've said to keep it, so I feel a bit odd because it's not really, well, yes, it's not very, but it's not my fault. I wasn't even the one that tried to arrange for it to be returned, so I don't feel that bad. But I am particularly excited about what 24 Warbats are going to do in the game. So I'm going to keep painting these up as I've started on the first 2. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about these. I may give them away. I'm not sure. That will just go into my stash, my mountain of opportunity, and wait for me to decide what to do. But these ones are definitely going to be, I'm going to use them myself. So 24 Warbats. That's a bit ridiculous. So moving on with this project, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to make the actual display boards for these miniatures. One of the biggest issues I always have with miniatures games that require lots of different types of miniature is I never know which is which. So what I'm going to be doing on this is I'm going to be basically labelling each of the areas, and I'm going to try to fit as many miniatures as I can on per sheet. These are some A5 size MDF sheets that I bought ages ago, and I've always tried to use them, never had a really good use. I think this is finally going to be a good use. So talk through the plan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw around each of the bases and cut them out, and I might even see whether I can get a tool to do that because it's going to be a bit dull, but I'm going to rank them up. This is not going to be a particularly scenic display base. It is merely for the purposes of actually keeping them separate so that I know which is which. So my kind of like leaders are, my commanders are on the bigger bases, and the rest are on the small. Now I think on this, in this particular case, this is going to be only riflemen, and I might actually go and look and see if I've got any more riflemen that I have made over the years, and try to fit them all on this one if I can. So yes, we're going to basically have just all riflemen on here. So I'll cut around all of the bases, and then these will be able to drop in and out. Again, I won't worry too much about making the holes a little bit too big. Once I've cut that all out, then I will stick this to the wood that's underneath, to the MDF that's underneath, and then I'll just give it a very basic scattering of sand and paint and sand, just to give it a little bit of a kind of colour, but I'm not going to go too nuts. Then when I have done that one, I will do the rest, and I will split them up. So I will have, for example, over here I've got quite a lot of pits. So I've got all these pit teams that need to be based, and so I will have a section, and there'll be these are pit teams, and I'll keep them all grouped together. So when I want to go and build a list, I can pick out the miniatures I need, and I don't have to worry about having the wrong miniatures on the table. It is one of the biggest issues. Like I say, one of the things that I struggle with the most is identifying and keeping track of that. So anyway, onwards, let's get this done. So there we are. I have hand carved out each of those while in boring meetings and what have you, and that's ready to stick down now. I did start to make a mistake, but as you can see, it's not a problem, because I will be putting some terrain, some scenicking over the top of this. So I've also got, while I was off camera, I also got my wire brush out, and I brushed both sides, scrubbed both sides, so that there is some teeth for the glue to stick in. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put the glue around, and then I get a small brush and I will smear it around, and then I will pop it onto that wood, and then weight it down and leave it for a little while. Probably quite a long time actually, because I want this to dry really, really solidly. Don't want it peeling off. So it's not going to be a very nice sound, but that's basically what's going to happen, and I'll weight it down and stick it to this. So I'll bring you back when I get to the next step. This is going to be a column which will be sticking up out of the pile of treasure that Smaug is buried in. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to use this as a solid block, but I'm going to be building up some textures or some stencils, some shapes on the outside for that kind of dwarven look. So my plan is to basically make a stencil, and I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to do it with cardboard and then cut that out and then put it onto the foam, or straight onto the foam and then cut around it a few times. And it's going to be the kind of the traditional step up look, and I'll probably do 2 or 3 diminishing sizes, maybe two diminishing sizes on each one. So I'm going to get that done. I will be using this foam here, which is 5mm foam, to do it, so that'll be just enough but not too much, so it'll be quite a nice texture, but it won't be completely overwhelming, which it would be if it was thicker. And I'll be gluing it on just using either PVA or gator glue. So I'm going to get my plans drawn up. I'm probably going to do a sketch so I know roughly what shape I'm going to do it, and then I will bring you along when I come to do the first cut, and then when I come to do the glue. So I'm going to get that started now. I'm probably going to just use a knife and not use a hot glue gun. So yeah, I'll get myself all sorted, draw some lines, and then bring you along for the cutting. Done a bit of measuring, done a bit of thinking, and what I'm going to do is the simplest possible thing I can, which is my expertise and specialism. So the column is 10 centimetres wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 4 strips from this larger sheet that are 8 centimetres wide, because if we have a look, it's very, very nearly, it's only like 5 or 6 centimetres shorter than the width of the of this sheet of the 1.5 centimetre. And so what I'll be able to do is cut off the top and then cut in the shape at the top on each of the 4, and do that on the Proxon maybe with some tape, and that should work quite nicely. So that's what I'm going to do for that, and then what I'll do is I will then cut down 4 at 6 centimetres, and then that will be enough for me to do the next shape on this. So non-slip safety ruler, absolute required purchase that, and you can see that is going to fit nicely there with a little bit of a lip around it. I'm about to trim the top off, carve in a shape, and it will look really, really nice. So I'm going to get that done. I'll get those all cut out and I'll bring you along when it comes to the gluing. So I've cut out the shapes, and you can see here the first one, and I've got the other shapes just over here on the side, which I will make use of, not on camera because it's going to be easier, but I thought I'd show you how this has worked. So I've come along with my wire brush and I've scraped both sides of each of the shapes, which does make it stick and glue better. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sticking, as I've said, the first wider shape on first, and then the narrower shape, which is kind of like a chimney going on there. And what I can also do, potentially I do have some pretty cool rollers from Green Stuff World, and I might do a little bit of clay work on this as well. But this is going to start off. I'm designing this as I go along, as I always do. So I've also trimmed these down to match this particular side, because each side is slightly different, and you can see that with the other ones I've made them bigger so I can trim them down to size as I glue them on. Finally, I have some dressmaker's pins, and I'll be using these to hold these in place, and then once it's all glued, I'll make use of these big clamps to clamp top and bottom. So I'll only need 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll leave it to dry overnight until tomorrow when I'll do the next steps. So that's the explanation. Let's get to gluing. So what we'll do is I will grab myself a bit of a brush so that I don't get glue all over my hands. But basically, put a bead of glue down the middle and then spread it with the brush. There we are, so a nice thin coat all the way over. And we'll put that down in the centre. There we are. And then what we'll do is we'll do the same thing on this. So bead of glue and spread it. There we are, so we've got that one nicely spread as well. And then that can set down on top, like so, in the centre as well. And then to keep it all nice and secure, I'll press some of these pins in at an angle, and they can stay in. I'm not going to be carving away at this. So you can push these in at an angle, and that will be sufficient to hold it until I can clamp, because obviously I'm not going to be able to clamp until I put all 4 sides on. And if I tried to do this without sticking pins in, then, well, you can guess what would happen. It wouldn't work. So it's not going to hold it very well. It's just designed to hold it enough while I do the rest. So there we are. I will now do all of the other 3 sides and then clamp it, and I'll bring you back and show you what it looks like when it's done and describe the next steps. About 4 days after I thought I was going to do this, I'm finally here. I had a busy week at work. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to come along and hopefully not do that. I might need to get myself a tissue. But I'm going to try to drop in this filler into the gaps. I might need to come along, I think, afterwards with some more of the white grout to cover this over. This is going to be a bit of a fiddly task. As you can see, I'm already doing badly, so what I probably need to do is come in here with the filler and then come along with a tissue and wipe it up where I don't want it. Just using a old brush here which has got quite hard bristles to try and push it in. That's a better way of doing it. There we are. So yeah, when this is dried I can do the next steps. Like I say, I've had a busy week, and so this has had to go by the wayside unfortunately for a little bit. Definitely a better technique pushing it in. So I'll get the rest of that done. I won't film it all, it's all going to be very, very slow and steady, and I'll bring you back when I get to the next step. So this is now good and stuck. So what I'm going to do is something a little different to what I normally do. I'm not going to use my terrain paint. I'm going to use neat PVA, and the reason I'm going to use neat PVA is I want this to be very neat. That was a pun. I don't want to get any sand into the holes between where the bases are going to go, where the miniatures are going to go, and the neat PVA is just a little bit easier to control, as you can see, a bit easier to stipple it on, and make sure that it only goes where I want it to. I may get myself a plate and put it onto the plate. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit here for now and apply the PVA only where I want it, and then I have my sifted sand, which is what I'm going to put on. And once that's on and dried, then I can paint it as colour if I want to, and do whatever texturing around just to make it a little bit of a nicer display base than just plain sand or plain black as it is now. I mean, you wouldn't have to do this. This is perfectly acceptable even without any sand on it. At least you can keep all your miniatures together and then label them nicely. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that as a next step. So I'll just quickly put a little bit of sand on. So just scatter the sand on like so. It sticks very quickly to that surface, making sure that you have sanded it if you've or put your wire brush on it, and then we can empty it off, and you can see that we have a sand texture, and that's going to be fine. So I'll do the rest of that and I'll bring you back for the next step when I get to it. This has dried all day, and I'm now going to come along with my terrain paint and paint over the top of the sand, just so that it's not that sandy colour, because I don't want these to be sandy. If I wanted them to be sandy, I could of course leave it, because it does look nice. And if you do want it to be sandy, then all you need to do now is come back over it with terrain glue, which is basically watered down PVA. At this stage, the addition of water, washing detergent, washing up liquid, dish soap, really helps either the glue or the paint to soak in and really bind it together, because this will now turn basically into concrete and will be very, very hard. So I'm going to get this done. It's not the quickest process because I'm trying to be really, really careful. I really don't want to disturb what I've done already, and then I will leave it to dry overnight, and then tomorrow I can flock, which is cool because I want this done for tomorrow. So I'll keep doing this, and I'll bring you back for the next step, which is flocking, I think, when I get to it. Well then, what an epic week. Back to the old days of super long vlogs, which proves just I was right in the intro. I really have had a good hobby week. It's been good fun, and I've really enjoyed a lot of the stuff that's happened. Receiving double Warbats was a pretty big highlight, as well as the Solomon Kane box. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below. I do always say this, and I do mean it. I love to hear from you, and I do reply to every single one of your comments. So don't be shy, say hello, and I will wrap up the video by saying, as I always do, please stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.